Hey everyone, welcome to the Soulful Eclectic. I'm your host, Diana Collins, and I want to say hello. How are you? How have you been? Let's start there. I am so grateful for all of you who have subscribed and have rated the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and I appreciate your support. If this is the first time you're coming in to sit with us, thank you so much for coming in and listening and being a part of the Soulful Eclectic tribe. I totally appreciate you. And I hope that you come back. I hope that you share something with the episode that resonated with you. And from that, I'm going to just go into today's celebration, today's greatness, right? Because we enter each day with giving thanks to our God, our universe, whomever you worship, your spirit. You just go into the morning to the day giving thanks because you want to be thankful that you are even on this side of the ground, right? So today I want to talk about friendships and making friends and things. I've moved a lot within the past, I want to say 8 to 10 years. I moved from upstate New York. I've been there 18 years in Albany, Troy area. And then from there, I moved to Delaware. And I was there for about four and a half years. Met my husband, got married, and then we decided to pick up and move to Arizona. So I've met so many people, so many wonderful people. It's amazing. Some of them I still keep in contact with, and some were there for a lesson and a reason, right? Just for the moment. So I value all those friendships that I've come in contact with. But I find that it gets harder and harder to make friends as an adult. I'm 45 years old and really just started making friends just before I left Albany, New York. Like I really started having those meaningful friendships where we go out, have dinner, those kinds of things. We go to each other's houses. So it was great. And then all of a sudden I pick up and move, and the move was not sudden. I don't want to say all of a sudden. I was engaged at the time to someone else, and it didn't work out, and it was for the best as years go on, and I realize, and you reflect on relationships and people you've met and things you've done. I reflect that it was meant to teach me a lesson, to learn from it, to grow from it, and to move on from it. So from that, I'm grateful, right? But my point is that it gets hard to make friends. Like you make work friends and people you resonate with at the job, but it doesn't extend past there, though you sometimes do try, but it's really far and few between. I've met people at the gym where we try to make those meaningful friendships, and I happen to have met one friend at the gym, which we do keep in contact with, and we do our morning walk some days. So that's really nice, and we try to build a friendship outside of the gym. But the reason I bring this up is, how do you know each other, right? Where did you meet? Where did those connections come together? And those connections, was each engagement meaningful, right? Did we make it a fruitful engagement every time we come in contact with our friends? And I like to think of my friends as family, because if I consider you a friend, you're family to me, especially if you're one of those close friends. So definitely a family if I invite you into my space, because my space is sacred. That's my peace. That's my sanctuary. And to invite you into that means I think greatly of you to invite you into that space. So, you become family at that point. But I bring this up because I had come across something that I was listening to, and it just clicked when the gentleman was talking, and he was saying that he was calling to check on his friends in different states, people that he had worked with, and he asked them caringly, how are you? You know, this is a pandemic. We're all shut in for different reasons in different ways, and we're trying to cope with it, being in tight spaces or maybe big spaces, learning to get to know each other in our homes again, but also losing out on those meaningful friendships and relationships that we created on the outside, right? So he was trying to check in, or actually he was checking in on his friends in different states. And, you know, he noticed that when he asked them about themselves and their family, the conversation didn't go bad, but it just kind of, you can hear the change in the voice in the individual. Oh yeah, my family, they're good, you know? But when they talked about a mutual space of where they met, say the gym, the park, the art museum, whatever, the voice changed. The person became more elated. It was a different conversation. So it made me think, wow, where and how do we know each other? Right? Do I know you on a personal level? Have we ever had those intimate conversations about family, friend, love life, those kids, those kinds of things? Have we ever had those intimate conversations? And even though I care, how dare I ask you out of the blue when we've never had those conversations? So you kind of have to think about where you know the individual from, right? So again, it goes back to that, where and how do we know each other? And then if we only know each other from a common space, say, the dance studio, because I used to do ballroom dancing. If I know you from the dance studio, then maybe we should keep our friendship engagement when we call to check on each other, maybe keep reflecting on the place we know each other from, because that's the happiest moments. Maybe other people don't want to talk about the downs and outs in the family because it is a pandemic. No one's in the perfect spot. I mean, maybe there is someone that is, and they found their place in the world now that the world has slowed down. So maybe they are in a perfect spot. But I'm going to say generally probably like 90% of people are not in the perfect spot. Maybe even that's being generous, saying 90%. But I know a lot of us are not in that perfect spot. So it is a sore spot for some to ask them, how are you? How is your family? Right? So, and when you want to, so I guess I want to say make each engagement meaningful, right? So you don't want to bring someone down. So if you find that you're asking about their home life and you've never asked them before, and all of a sudden out of the blue you're asking them, kind of seems like you're trying to be nosy, right? So you kind of have to change the conversation and where the conversation goes. And so bring it back to something that's meaningful to you both, that brings you both joy. Maybe a bookstore. Maybe you can talk about a common book that relates to your common meeting place, right? So what's your common place, right? Where do you know each other from? And use that common place to drive your conversation, because we need those endorphins. We need that happy spirit. We need that smile on our face to make us feel good. And sometimes talking to an old friend from a common space about a common thing is helpful. I know for me, talking about nursing in a common space makes me happy. Talking about caring for people and advocating for people makes me happy. And teaching someone how to better their health and be more resilient makes me happy. Talking to children about their future makes me happy. talking to teenagers. Oh my goodness, young adults makes me happy when they're interested in health science field, because that's me. That's who I am. So that's going to make me happy, right? So go think about it. Think about the people you have in your life now, and just think, how do I know you? What do I know about you? Right? What do you know about me? What have I told you about me? And am I willing to extend that further and tell you more about me? And are you willing to extend that and tell me more about you? You know, asking someone how they are doing does not work for all friends and all people, because sometimes it seems like you're prying into their life. And sometimes they may not want to share that intimate details and with you at that time. So don't get offended by it if they choose not to share with you at that moment, at that time. Take a step back and just revisit your relationship with that individual. You know, notice when and how you have a common place. Notice when that person is talking that they are happy, and then keep driving the conversation from there. I mentioned that earlier, right? The conversation gets lively. You see them start to smile a little more, or you can hear them smile a little more, because, you know, we can't see each other's faces too much anymore, but you can see it in their eyes that they're smiling if it's a face-to-face meeting. But if it's now everything we do is via Zoom, so, you know, Zoom your friends. It's 30, 45 minutes you get for free on Zoom. That's a great conversation to check in on family and friends, right? You can see all the kids running in the back maybe, or just check in and do a wellness check on each other. I do what I call my friend check. I'll send out, even though it's just a text message, and I really do, as a person, try to get better at that, because you get lost in things that you're doing with yourself and your family and your friends that you're immediately there with. But I do a friend and family check where I send messages to friends and family, say, hey, how you doing? Just checking in, seeing how you feel. Do you need anything? And it doesn't have to be anything major, just letting them know that you are thinking about them in the moment. And I know we have so many people that we care about and that are on our spirit, but when that person is on our spirit, that's the time that we should send that message out to them. It's like, you know what? I was just thinking about you, and I just wanted to say hello. That's it. Nothing major. I still have friends in Albany that I check in with once in a while, that I still have numbers with. And if I can't reach you on the phone, I'll find a Facebook message and I message you, hey, just checking in. How are you? I haven't caught up with you. It's been a couple of years or whatever. Sometimes it is years for some of these friendships. I've had friends for 10, 20 years, and we can go 2 years not talking, and I check in and it's like, hey, how you doing? And then I get a boatload of news, which is great, because it's like, whoa, I didn't know you were doing all this, or I didn't know this happened. It does hurt me when sad things happen or bad things happen and I'm not aware, because sometimes we think more of ourselves than the other person thinks of us. So we think we're this great friend and we're part of the family, but sometimes I have to step back and think, you know, everyone doesn't think of me the way I think of them. And that's a realization that was hard for me to come to in my years, because I always treat people the way I want to be treated, and it doesn't come back. So I have to take a step back and say, everyone is not me, right? Everyone doesn't have the same feelings and treats people the same way that I do. It doesn't mean they don't care about me or care about treating me well. It just means that we do things different, and I value things differently than the other person. So, yeah, friendships. It's really crazy trying to meet friends at an older age. I'm finding some stumbling blocks, but it's coming together. I've got a couple of really good friends that I met, through work, because I work a lot. And before working as much as I did, I was trying to get out there and be more social. We were taking dance classes at the Fred Astaire, which was amazing. I missed that. I want to put my dancing shoes back on. But that was really nice. And yeah, just trying to get out of my element, because I'm such that homebody. I'm very much at my peace at home. I can stay home every day and be okay with it and just go to the grocery store, get my social fill, and then I can go right back into my sanctuary. I know it's kind of weird because I'm out there trying to be being an actress and being doing runway shows and things like that. I'm out there in front of people, but it's it's only for the moment, right? I jump in it, and then I go back and I hide for weeks to months on end, and then I jump back in and I say, hey world, here I am, and then I go back into hiding. So it's funny to think about that, because it's like, okay, so what are you going to do once you're this star on TV? And I say, well, I'm going to go to the set, do my thing, and then go home and be at peace with myself, because that's what I want to do. I want to be in that space. I want to be there. I want to give my voice, right? So that's what we do when we want to search out friends. We want to, give our voice and share a part of ourselves with someone else. And it doesn't mean that your spouse is not your friend. Your spouse can be your best friend, and that's not a bad thing. But sometimes we need that other voice also to help chime in. So there's nothing wrong with that. My husband is my best friend, and your best friend can sometimes be an annoyance and be a thorn in your side, but that best friend is also your peace and your solace, right? So it's that yin and the yang. And I love that about relationships. And I often, people say, how can you spend so much time with your husband? He's with you everywhere you go. I say, I love that. It doesn't bother me one bit, because, he's my friend too. So we spend a lot of time together. But find that common place, right? That common friendship, that common ground that you have with your friends, and reach out to a friend you haven't talked to in a long time. Even if it's been a few years, just think about your engagement with that person and how you know them, and rekindle that friendship if it's lost. I'm sure it'll be appreciated on both ends, right? During this COVID time, we need to have that solidarity, stand together. So much of our nation is divided that it hurts my heart. So to know that I can find solace in my family and in my friends brings me peace. So figure out where you know your friends from, and how do you know them, and then make those meaningful connections count again. So thank you so much for joining me. That was what I wanted to share today. I thought it would be helpful in this pandemic that we figure out who our friends are and reconnect during this time. This is a time, again, for solidarity and connections. And then, maybe start to show your authentic self. Show them a piece of you that you've never shared with them before. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Come again if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, shoot me an email. I'm at dc@thesoulfuleclectic.com. You can find me on Instagram. It's the.soulfuleclectic on Instagram, and then you can also find me on Facebook. All right, I'm Soulful Eclectic with DC on Facebook. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you all, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. Thank you. Have a great day.